What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Leon from Leon Talks TV, and welcome back to my channel. Now, have you ever wondered why some really handsome guys seem to be loners or decide to move alone or move in silence, so to speak, or adapt the lone wolf mentality, while others are pretty much happy in social dynamics? It's an interesting situation that many people don't think about. Sometimes the so-called attractive men get a lot of envy or resentment from others, which can lead to them being left out in social settings. So today I want to talk about some of the reasons why this happens and how these men often end up adapting to being lone wolves. We also look at how competition amongst guys and social dynamics play into this. So let's dig into this topic and explore why keeping your feelings to yourself can be especially important for highly attractive men. Why keeping your interest to yourselves. So, when you're interested in a girl, so to speak, right, it's often best to keep that information to yourself, at least initially. While you might feel eager to share your feelings with friends for a little morale support or encouragement, it's important to be cautious about who you trust with that information. You never know how someone might react or if they might intentionally sabotage your chances. This is especially true if you're just starting to hang out with a new group of friends. Not everyone has your best interest at heart, and sometimes people can inadvertently create awkward situations that complicate your pursuit. So while it's natural to want to talk about your crush, being discreet can help you navigate your feelings more effectively. Keeping things on the down low allows you to approach the situation more confidence and reduces the risk of any outside interference. Scenario explanation chapter. So let's talk about a common scenario that many people can relate to, or maybe you might have not experienced this. However, this is somewhat of a reality situation that many men may have faced amongst friends. Now, imagine a guy who has a crush on a particular girl. He confides in one of his friends about his feelings, sharing his hopes and plans to approach her when he feels ready, and tells his friends to keep it to himself. Because he's thinking through how he wants to do it and what he might say, this is a personal moment for him, and he wants to make sure he's prepared before taking that step. Now, picture this: while they're all hanging out, one of his friends suddenly calls out the girl in front of everyone, or just in front of each other, and he says something like, "Hey, my friend likes you." This unexpected announcement can really change the dynamic of the situation. Impact on confidence chapter. When a friend makes a public declaration like that, it can have mixed effects. On one hand, it might take some pressure off the guy by making his feelings known without him having to say anything. But on the other hand, it can make him feel exposed and embarrassed, especially if he wasn't ready to approach her yet. This can undermine his confidence and make it even harder for him to engage with her naturally when the moment comes. Also, let's consider how the girl perceives the situation. If she sees that the guy's friends had to speak up for him, she might think he lacks the courage to approach her on his own. And he needs help and supportive. So basically, meaning he needs someone to hold his hand to talk to a girl. This perception could affect how she views him. If she associates assertiveness with attractiveness, she might start to lose interest because it suggests he isn't confident enough to make the first move himself. Remember, he shared his feelings in confidence and wanted to approach her on his own terms. From a friendship perspective, it's crucial for friends to support each other while also respecting each other's boundaries. You see, a friend's blurting out someone's feelings can be seen as a breach of trust if that guy wasn't ready to share that information publicly. It highlights the importance of communication amongst friends, ensuring everyone is on the same page about what's not shared. You see, it's important to keep your feelings to yourself when you are interested in someone it's important to keep your feelings to yourself when you're interested in someone until you've established a connection with that person. If you like a girl, try not to share that information with anybody. The very person you confide in might intentionally sabotage your chances. Just remember that they could say things negative about you or bring up past interactions you've had with other girls, which can turn her off off and make her lose interest in you. So it's best to keep your feelings under wraps until you've made your move and feel confident about the situation. Once you've built a rapport with her, then you can be a bit more open about your feelings and share your interests. I mean, ultimately, being mindful of who you share your feelings with can lead a more positive outcome when you're pursuing someone you are interested in. Chapter: Facing resentment from being handsome. So let's talk about something that might surprise you. Handsome men can sometimes face resentment from other guys. Picture this. Let's say there's a party going on, and let's say there's so-called friends or people you might know, and some girls are asking about the so-called handsome guy to the so-called friends, but the other so-called friends might be hesitant to invite the handsome guy to the social gathering, especially when they knowing there's women around. Why? Because they feel like he's going to steal all the attention and interest from the girls. Chapter: Male competition and status. You see, men are often subconsciously aware of social hierarchies. When a very attractive guy walks into the room, he can be seen as a threat, and women might naturally gravitate towards him, and that can make other guys feel insecure about their own chances. In social settings where flirting and dating are on the table, this dynamic creates tension. Chapter: Social exclusion as a defense mechanism. So one way some guys cope with this perceived threat is by not inviting the more attractive man to the events where men are present. It's not always about personal dislike, it's more about protecting their own opportunities. By excluding the handsome guy, they feel like they're reducing competition. Chapter: Charisma and attention. Interestingly, even if a handsome guy lacks charisma, charm, or a good sense of humor, he can still trigger reluctance in other men to include him. Sometimes it's the guy who commands attention just by being there that stirs up the most jealousy. This can create an awkward atmosphere even if the handsome guy isn't trying to dominate the room. They see it as, this guy doesn't even have to try hard. All he has to do is just sit there and he still gets attention. While we have to put in so much effort, we have to put in so much game at it. So you can understand that in these type of situations, a lot of these guys get very frustrated with the men that are attractive. Chapter: The value of small circles. So what does this mean for handsome men? In some cases, it's better to have a small circle of friends you can trust and move with, or have friends that are on the same type of looks level as you are. Because if you find yourself in a situation where you feel like you might be competing for attention, consider going to events solo. This way you can navigate social dynamics on your own terms without adding any unnecessary tension. You see, handsome guys need to learn how to move in silence and keep their next moves under wraps. Definitely don't share your plans, especially when it comes to dating, because that could lead to sabotage. It's important to learn how to navigate these situations wisely. It's better to approach women solo. Going solo might be the way to go since your friends could potentially interrupt you. And this is in regards to like cold approach or approaching women in public. They might try to block you or get in the way because they want to make their own move before you do. So when it comes down to it, and when it comes to like sharing information, don't get me wrong, it's perfectly normal to want to talk about your feelings when you're interested in someone. However, it's essential to be mindful of who you share that information with. While it can be helpful to discuss your interests with someone, make sure that person you confide in is not closely connected to the situation. Ideally, you want to talk to someone who is removed from the scenario, someone who doesn't know the girl personally. This way you can get an unbiased perspective without the risk of them sharing your feelings with others or potentially affecting your chances. Choose someone you trust and feel confident in their character, ensuring that they keep your conversation private and provide thoughtful support. So, conclusion. In conclusion, handsome men face some unique challenges in social settings, from jealousy among other guys to the need to keep their feelings private. These factors can really shape their experiences. By learning how to navigate relationships and social gathering with a little more caution. So at the end of the day, this is why it's always important to protect yourself. Guard yourself. I mean, make sure you protect yourself. Don't let people know your next move. That's why it's always better to move in silence, have a small circle, or become a lone wolf. But have people that you can trust and are not with the BS that want to just put you on blast. So understanding these dynamics not only helps us to see what attractive individuals go through, but also gives us insights into connecting with others. So the next time you're in a social setting, think about how these elements might be at play. And remember that sometimes keeping things to yourself is the best way to go. On that note, I'll leave it there. And thanks for joining me today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Let's chat in the comments below. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more tips. Till next time, take care.